Right now on Good Morning America First Look, Arctic blast. Millions waking up to frigid temperatures. Feels like temps expected to hit 19 degrees below zero as back-to-back snowstorms stretch from Maine down to Florida. Some football fans braving the weekend games shirtless. Up to 2 feet expected to fall in some areas as snow covers palm trees in the Sunshine State. We're tracking it all.
Breaking overnight, dozens are killed after a train crash in Spain. Hundreds on board as a train jumps its track and slams into another coming in the opposite direction. What officials are now saying.
Showdown over Greenland. European leaders hold an emergency meeting and consider retaliation after President Trump threatened new tariffs on anyone objecting to a U.S. takeover. The face-to-face showdown now set for later this week.
The NFL's conference championships are set after a dramatic weekend filled with controversy and tears.
I feel like I let my teammates down tonight.
As we take a look at the college championship game happening tonight.
Plus, the new allegations facing actor Kiefer Sutherland.
And the amazing discovery underneath a museum's parking lot.
Plus, the major milestone for a national treasure, how the country world is celebrating Dolly Parton's 80th birthday.
And the record-breaking gemstone that was just unveiled. Wait until you hear how much it's worth.
From ABC News, this is Good Morning America First Look.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sophie Flay.
And I'm Hannah Batal. We begin with that dangerously cold weather being felt by millions of Americans on this MLK Day.
This blast of extreme cold follows a weekend of snowstorms and frigid conditions from the upper Midwest to the deep South. Americans feeling the bone-chilling cold and dealing with treacherous travel along the way. This morning, millions from the Midwest to the East Coast are waking up to a bitter blast of Arctic air. Feel like temperatures today in Minneapolis could plunge to 19 degrees below zero. Single digits are expected in cities such as Buffalo, Columbus, and Kansas City. All this amid back-to-back winter storms, making for treacherous travel.
You could see some of the cars were struggling getting up the street.
Freezing rain pelting this Long Island, New York highway. In Michigan, heavy snow causing whiteout conditions on the roads. Several inches falling in parts of New Jersey, blanketing neighborhoods. Residents there digging out. And the weather even impacting game day.
I know that field's going to be slippery out there today.
In Massachusetts, the Patriots battling the elements, winning in a turnover-filled playoff game over the Texans. Up in the stands, the weather was no match for these shirtless fans.
Got time. Shot downfield in trouble.
The Los Angeles Rams overcoming strong winds and temperatures in the teens to beat the Chicago Bears in their own stadium. The wintry weather pushing farther south than usual. Residents from Texas to Florida getting a rare taste of snow.
It's like my second time experiencing snow, because it normally never snows here.
Kids in the Sunshine State taking full advantage, while flurries dusted palm trees in Pensacola, a sight rarely seen in this part of the country. The storms contributed to more than 500 flight cancellations yesterday. We'll check the full forecast in just a moment.
Emergency crews have been at the scene of a deadly train crash in southern Spain through the night. A high-speed train came off its track, crashing into an oncoming train, killing at least 39 people and injuring dozens of others. The death toll could rise further. One official calling it extremely strange because the derailment took place on a recently renovated stretch of a straight track, and the high-speed train was just a few years old.
European leaders are coming face-to-face with President Trump this week at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland after he threatened to hit them with new tariffs for resisting his push to acquire Greenland. ABC's Alison Kosik has more.
This morning, European leaders are slamming President Trump's threat to impose tariffs for opposing American control of Greenland. Ambassadors from America's closest allies holding an emergency meeting Sunday, warning the threats risk a dangerous downward spiral. The Trump administration insists the U.S. must control Greenland for national security.
The national emergency is avoiding a national emergency. That it is a strategic decision by the president. This is a geopolitical decision, and he is able to use the economic might of the U.S. to avoid a hot war.
Europe could push back with a so-called trade bazooka, restricting U.S. companies' business in Europe. France's president has called for its use. France is among the countries that have sent small groups of military forces to Greenland, and there is new reporting that Canada may also send soldiers. For months, Trump has refused to back down from his campaign to control Greenland and has refused to rule out the use of military force.
If he wants to purchase Greenland, that's one thing. But for him to militarily invade would turn Article 5 of NATO on its very head and, in essence, put us at war with NATO itself.
Experts and lawmakers say there is no imminent threat to Greenland. The U.S. already operates a military base there, with a treaty allowing the U.S. to expand its military presence on the island.
The only security threat to Greenland right now is the United States.
During weekend protests from Denmark to Greenland, demonstrators making their message to the president clear.
We are not interested in being Americans.
In the coming days, there is something that could block President Trump's tariffs, a highly anticipated Supreme Court ruling on the legality of those tariffs and how far presidential emergency powers can stretch. Sophie, Hannah?
Alison, thanks. Troops are at the ready this morning, prepared to be deployed to the Twin Cities if they are given orders from President Trump. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio has the details. Nicole, good morning.
Hannah, good morning. The FBI reportedly is now asking agents across the U.S. to volunteer to travel to Minneapolis, but no mission has been given. It comes as the Pentagon has ordered 2 infantry battalions based in Alaska to be ready in case of a possible deployment.
This morning, roughly 1,500 active duty Army paratroopers on alert, waiting for a possible deployment to Minneapolis. Defense officials telling ABC News President Trump hasn't made a final decision on whether to deploy the soldiers, but they're taking, quote, prudent steps to prepare. The White House not yet commenting. It comes just days after the president threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act for the first time in more than 30 years, which would allow him to use the U.S. military domestically.
Ice out now!
It comes after more than 10 days of protest and rising tensions in the city, sparked by an ICE agent's killing of 37-year-old mother of 3, Renee Good.
Say her name!
The federal government insisting the agent's shooting of Good was justified and no further review of his actions is warranted.
We are not investigating, and if there comes a time when we need to, we will, but it's not now.
Sources tell ABC News that the federal investigation is focused on Good, her conduct, and possible ties to activist groups. And now the DOJ also launching an investigation into Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. Sources telling ABC News they're under investigation for allegedly obstructing law enforcement efforts.
There are other countries where you get put away for the things that you say. There are other countries where you get investigated for saying something that runs counter to what the federal government states. But in this country, it's not that way.
The unrest impacting the city's businesses.
Everybody's scared. I mean, not just, the people that are scared of immigration status, but everybody's scared.
And this morning, 4 attorneys tell ABC News ICE rejected their request to meet with their clients in Minneapolis. Claims DHS denies, saying detainees are given due process and access to lawyers. Hannah.
Nicole, thank you. A multi-state chase in New England over the weekend ended with a crash and a murder suspect in custody. Police say a 55-year-old man fled Massachusetts and led them on a 60-mile chase before crashing his car in New Hampshire. He suffered serious injuries and is considered a suspect in his girlfriend's murder in Maine. And this car crashed into a San Francisco church while people were inside. Police call it unintentional. The vehicle did not hit anyone. However, 7 people were hurt, likely from falling debris. The driver stayed on scene and spoke to police.
Time now for your Monday morning weather.
Good Monday morning. We have our weekend storm exiting the East Coast right now. Another clipper moving in across the Great Lakes, and that's going to spread some major lake effect snows into western parts of lower Michigan, also east of Lakes Ontario and Erie, to the tune of maybe 1 to 2 feet of snow in the Monday through Wednesday time frame as that really cold air blows across the warmer lake waters. And that cold air means business. Wind chills well below zero. Minneapolis during the day today, 13 below is what it feels like this morning in a place like Chicago. Meteorologist Jeff Smith, ABC News.
Coming up, a double-decker bus fails to clear a bridge.
Also ahead, the new allegations against actor Kiefer Sutherland.
And Prince Harry is back in the UK and back in court, taking on the tabloids. And he's not the only famous face that will be in the courtroom today. Back now with a double-decker bus in Spokane, Washington, slamming into a railroad bridge. The bus was more than 13 feet tall, and the bridge is only 12 feet high. 4 people were injured and taken to the hospital.
Prince Harry is returning to a London courtroom today as he battles the British tabloids, accusing them of invading his privacy. Harry is the lead plaintiff in the case, along with Elton John, Elizabeth Hurley, and other celebrities. They claim the publisher of the Daily Mail used unlawful measures like eavesdropping on phone calls to get sensational headlines. The publisher denies any wrongdoing. Harry has reached settlements with 2 other tabloids over similar allegations.
Actor Kiefer Sutherland is expected to be charged in the next 2 weeks for his alleged attack on a rideshare driver. And there are new allegations against the star, as ABC's Melissa Adon reports.
New allegations emerging after actor Kiefer Sutherland was arrested in Hollywood last week following an alleged altercation with the rideshare driver. Law enforcement sources tell ABC News an Uber driver told police Sutherland punched him multiple times and tried to choke him. During the ride, police tell TMZ Sutherland repeatedly asked the driver to pull over and let him out before allegedly threatening to kill him if he did not stop the car. According to ABC News sources, the Uber driver got out of the car and called 911 while allegedly running away from Sutherland. According to sources, witnesses say Sutherland appeared to be under the influence.
Fairfax Avenue, subject of male, white, 5'10", black or dark blue jacket.
The LAPD says the driver did not require medical treatment.
You don't know me.
The 59-year-old actor, known for his role in 24, Designated Survivor, and A Few Good Men, was arrested for allegedly making a criminal threat and was released on a $50,000 bail. ABC News has reached out to Sutherland's representatives. Sutherland has not been charged. The Los Angeles District Attorney's Office may charge him in the coming weeks ahead of his scheduled court appearance on February 2nd. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Melissa, thanks. Actor Timothy Busfield's wife, actress Melissa Gilbert, has a request for the judge overseeing the child abuse case against Busfield. In an emotional letter, Gilbert, who starred in Little House on the Prairie, asks the judge to protect Busfield while he's in a New Mexico jail. She calls Busfield, quote, my love, my rock, my partner in business and life. Busfield denies the accusations he's facing.
Coming up, the new record just set by Venus Williams.
Also ahead, the NFL Conference Championships are set, why one team already has a major advantage. Back now with NASA's new moon rocket taking its place on the launch pad at Cape Canaveral. It's in final preparations for Artemis 2, the first crewed lunar mission in more than 50 years. 4 astronauts will fly around the moon to lay the groundwork for a future landing. Earliest they could blast off is February 6th.
From space travel to Venus Williams, that is. The 45-year-old tennis legend is now the Australian Open's oldest ever women's singles player. She lost her first-round match to a 24-year-old Serbian player who was born 3 years after Williams made her Aussie Open debut. Williams is not done down under. She's also playing women's doubles.
The NFL's Final Four is set. The weekend's playoff games serving up plenty of controversy and all sorts of drama right to the last play.
A thriller at Soldier Field, the Rams and Bears battling in the snow. With Chicago trailing and seconds on the clock, quarterback Caleb Williams drops back deep and launches it. But their luck running out in overtime. Williams intercepted, setting the stage for the game-winning 42-yard field goal.
Los Angeles Rams go to the championship game.
What an unbelievable job by our defense today, getting us the ball over and over again. They were clutch and timely, and that's what it takes to win in the playoffs.
Earlier in the night, the Patriots dominating the Texans. The snowy game, a nightmare for C.J. Stroud, who threw 4 interceptions in just the first half, tying a playoff record.
May steps into it, takes a shot.
And this incredible one-handed grab, sealing the game for the Patriots in the fourth.
Outstanding catch.
The Pats now heading to the AFC Championship for the first time since the Tom Brady era back in 2018. Next weekend, they'll face off against the Broncos while the Rams take on the Seahawks. And the Patriots already have a leg up over Denver. On Saturday, Broncos quarterback Bo Nix is out for the rest of the playoffs after breaking his ankle in their overtime win over the Bills. The game plagued by controversy.
They pick it up and they go deep down the field, and the pass is
Fans furious after a potential catch for the Bills was ruled an interception for the Broncos. Quarterback Josh Allen teary-eyed in the post-game news conference.
It's extremely difficult. I feel like I let my teammates down.
But tonight, it's all about college football. Number 10 Miami will try to upset number 1 Indiana in the College Playoff National Championship. The undefeated Hoosiers will be attempting to cap off a perfect season, but the underdog Hurricanes have one big advantage. The stadium, chosen back in 2022, is Miami's home field.
The championship game kickoff is at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN.
Excited to watch. Yes. Well, coming up, we are celebrating Dolly Parton's 80th birthday.
Plus, why this beach is being flooded with millions of onions and French fries. Time to check the pulse. We start with a major milestone for Dolly Parton, who is celebrating 80 years today. Yeah, it's officially Dolly Parton Day in her home state of Tennessee.
She marked her 80th birthday with the release of a new version of her 1977 hit, Light of a Clear Blue Morning, joined by Lady Wilson, Reba, Queen Latifah, and Miley Cyrus.
What a lineup. And Dolly was honored over the weekend at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville, where she first performed at the age of 13. She wasn't feeling too great, so sadly she couldn't attend, but so glad they were able to honor her there. Okay, next, a record-setting rock that's going on sale.
Yeah, and it's going to cost a lot of money. It's been named the Star of Pure Land, and at more than 1.5 pounds, it's said to be the world's largest purple star sapphire. It was unveiled over the weekend by its owners in Sri Lanka, and they're ready to sell. They say it's worth at least $300 million.
You gotta feel so powerful holding that massive gemstone.
Absolutely.
So cool.
Beautiful. Next, from a big rock to some big bones.
Yeah, their discovery is just now being publicized. They were uncovered during a parking lot construction project at Dinosaur National Monument in Colorado. Experts say they belong to a long-necked dinosaur. They're working now to get that dinosaur's age. These, by the way, were the first fossil excavations at that location since 1924. So it had been almost a century since they were digging through there.
So cool.
Okay, a rare sighting in the UK, a beach swamped by French fries.
Yes, so many fries washed ashore. They were 2.5 feet deep in some spots. The fries appeared a month after more than a dozen containers fell from a cargo ship during a storm. Officials are calling on volunteers to remove the plastic bags the fries were in to protect seals in the area. And finally, the Avatar juggernaut at the box office.
Avatar Fire and Ash was the #1 this past weekend for the 5th week in a row. Also, Zootopia 2 is now the highest grossing animated film ever produced in the U.S. with $1.7 billion. Both Zootopia 2 and Avatar are from our parent company, Disney.
But we talked about this. I mean, my favorite animated character is Remy from Ratatouille. What about you?
Ooh, mine has got to be Dory from Finding Nemo.
Two good ones. Headlines next. Checking more top stories, a weekend of snow from the northern plains to the east coast has given way for dangerous cold for tens of millions of people. Minneapolis could feel like -19 today. And lake effect snow is falling from Michigan to western New York.
European leaders are outraged after President Trump threatened to impose new tariffs on them for opposing his push to take control of Greenland. French President Macron is expected to request the EU block some U.S. companies from accessing the EU market. Human rights activists say at least 3,900 people were killed in the crackdown on protesters in Iran, and nearly 9,000 deaths are still under review. The demonstrations have apparently stopped for now, and President Trump is calling for new leadership in Iran. More about today's weather, fog in the northwest, and that lake effect snow. Some areas near the Great Lakes could see up to 2 feet of snow over just the next few days. And finally, on this Martin Luther King Day, one woman who's doing her best to help others. Most certainly. Our Danny New has her story.
How you doing, Queen?
If you are experiencing hunger and Miss Shirley Raines sees you,
Hi, King. You want a snack, baby?
prepared to be greeted and treated like royalty.
Whatever they need, we're a one-stop shop.
For about a decade now, the Compton native has been doing basically whatever she can to help folks who may be going through a hard time.
He'll give you 3.
I'll just take 2. I don't want to be greedy. Thank you.
Her nonprofit, Beauty to the Streets, has millions of followers across social media, and she uses their donations to fund projects like making home-cooked meals to dish out of her vehicle. The name Beauty to the Streets derives from her first mission, when she began giving makeovers to women experiencing homelessness in the Los Angeles area.
That kind of word got around LA and people started looking for the makeup lady. They started calling me.
Now, if you're wondering why Shirley has dedicated so much time to this mission, she says it's been fueled by a tragedy in her life. In her early 20s, while she was experiencing homelessness herself, her 2-year-old son died suddenly. Understandably, even years later, she says that trauma kept weighing her down.
I'd done all the successful things that people say you're supposed to do to get out the hood, but I was still mentally caught up, with the death of my son. So when I met this community, it just felt like I connected and resonated so well with them. Yes, my love. What you want, chocolate sauce, caramel, or peppermint?
More than 3 decades later, Shirley is now based out of Las Vegas and travels all over to cook for people or pay for their groceries.
You need some groceries?
Yeah.
For the kids and yourself?
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be a limit to what she's willing to do for someone.
I can't save your life. I couldn't save my son's life. But what I can do, I've learned to do that versus mourning what I couldn't do.
And guys, I didn't even scratch the surface of all the ways Shirley has helped people, including even putting a woman through nail technician school after Shirley noticed her in line with beautiful nails.
What an inspiration and an LA legend.
Truly.
That's our Good Morning America first look.
Have a great day, everyone. Take care.